coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor. This is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Good evening, I'm Alyssa Horrobin, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now. Happy New Year! Have you made any resolutions? We sent out 2 of our reporters to talk to some people around the MediaPlex and St. Clair's Center for the Arts to see what their New Year's resolutions are. Maybe you can relate.
My New Year's resolution this year is to just hit the gym more. Only quick and easy.
Honestly, I didn't even think about it. I was home alone with my dogs on New Year's Eve, and midnight came, I was sound asleep, so I didn't make a resolution. So I don't usually. It's not a big deal for me, so that's why.
My New Year's resolution is to stop eating late at night. I used to have this bad habit of staying up late and then eating hot meals before bed, and I'm definitely noticing a change.
The University of Windsor launched an app as a study tool to help some of their students during their exams and other tough parts of the semester. Sanjay Maru brings us the details in this story.
As students hunker down during this dreaded exam time, they are looking for any and every tool to help them succeed. Well, now there's an app for that. The University of Windsor has just released a new app for arts, humanities, and social science students. Tony Vo is the project coordinator. He says the app does 3 things, including highlighting individual stories on campus, kind of like Facebook's Humans of New York.
Our most well-received feature of the app is our Humans of FOSS, which spotlights an amazing and inspiring students throughout our entire faculty. So each story documents the student's journey in hopes to share their struggles, their successes, and advices to fellow students.
One of the people featured is 4th-year political science student Marissa Boomenlag. She says the app has made it easier for her to study. She likes the ability to connect with an instructor outside of class time.
The last time I used the app was actually last night. I used the app basically to navigate and to look for the live chat, which is basically with the learning specialist, and in doing so you're able to ask different questions related to resources on campus. So as a 4th-year student, I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to see what else is there.
The Faculty of Arts, Humanities, and Social Science will continue to promote the app on campus throughout the year. The UWindsor Fast app is available for download on Apple and Android devices right now. For MediaPlex News, I'm Sanjay Maru.
Windsor and the surrounding area has many attractions to offer visitors and locals. In this edition of 3 Minutes With, David Lafreniere had the chance to talk with CEO of TWEPI about the latest local tourism news.
Welcome to 3 Minutes With. I'm your host, David Lafreniere, and our guest this week, 3 Minutes with Gordon Orr, the CEO of Tourism Windsor, Essex and Pelee Island. Today we're going to talk about the area's top 10 attractions, but before we do, Gordon, in a recent conversation we talked about the death of the spontaneous traveler from Metro Detroit because of increased border security. People need to have a reason, whether it's from this country or from across the border, to come here. So why do people put Windsor on their destination list?
Thank you, David. Good to be with you. Absolutely, without question. What's happened is, with the border security and all of that, what's happened is people didn't have the proper identification. But you can't tell people, oh, now you've got a passport, come to Windsor. Or you can't tell them that their dollar goes further, so come to Windsor. You have to give them a compelling enough reason. What's the trip motivator? What's going to bring them to cross an international border and explore all of the advantages and the tourism amenities in Windsor, Essex? So that's what we do. Not one iconic attraction, but plenty of reasons why you'll love this place.
Right. And the top 10 of them, reasons to put on your destination list, is our area's top 10 attractions. Sure. The first being, if you can give me the elevator pitch for each of these.
Okay.
Adventure Bay.
Adventure Bay. Well, a great family-themed water park, without question. It's got a ball area which you can play in. It's got a food and beverage operation. It also has some wonderful slides, and it's got a great customer service. But it is something that is a wonderful amenity to our downtown, and a lot of packages happen between hotels and Adventure Bay passes.
Excellent. Cycling.
Cycling. Well, cycle tourism is growing, without question. Healthy lifestyle, better for the environment, a great way to get from point A to point B. We even have farm dog cycles in the county that offers tours from wineries from one point to another. And cycle tourism, most infrastructure ever spent by any city council. And we also are great members of the Great Waterfront Adventure Trail, which brings cyclists to Windsor.
Excellent. So barrels, bottles, brews, trail.
Yes. So when you look at what's happening in the industry, what product is being developed, our burgeoning craft brew industry, we're at over 11. Then you get Wolfhead out in Amherstburg, which is also a distillery and a brewery. And they're doing vodka and whiskey, which is on sale at the LCBO. And then you've got, of course, Hiram Walker producing J.P. Weiser's. And you've got Canadian Club. So you've got all of this within the area. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to bring that product together and create synergies, because individually they're not as strong as they are collectively.
Birding.
Birding. Well, over 80% of all bird species are found right here in North America. Point Pelee National Park in Leamington attracts over 50,000 birders to the region during their Festival of Birds in May. It is certainly a very popular destination for birders.
Sporting events.
Sporting events. Well, the City of Windsor and the County of Essex have developed quite a roster of signature sporting events that they've proven that they can host. Most recently, the MasterCard Memorial Cup. Of course, the Windsor Spitfires won, which was fantastic. But it's growing and it's bringing people here, and it's helping build our overnight component.
Well, this should be a good reason to show why people need to come to the area, because we're not even touching anywhere near the top 10, and we're, if I can just ask you to, with a couple of seconds, tell us about the Epic wine, and we'll close it up there.
Well, we have award-winning wine right here in our own backyard. We are in the same latitude as Napa Valley, California, and we've got great wine with event space in the region. There's 18 award-winning wineries, and they are working together as well collectively. We've got the wine route map and the wine route passport, and everything, of course, is at visitwindsoressex.com.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Gordon. Well, there's also Caesars Windsor, the 1,000 Mile Peninsula, festivals and events, and Pelee Island. There's lots to see and do in the Windsor-Essex area. Thank you again, Gordon.
Thanks, David.
For MediaPlex News Now, I'm David Lafreniere.
With a new year freshly rung in, this is the perfect time to rid your life of any unwanted stress. Chelsea Gerard brings us a few tips on keeping calm and carrying on in this Health Minute.
Hello, this is Chelsea Gerard, and for today's Health Minute, we're going to talk about how to de-stress. Is the holiday season sending you into a panicking frenzy? No need to worry, because I've got your 3 tips to help you deal with stress over the winter seasons. Tip number 1, make a to-do list. Lists can help you keep track and manage everything you need to do. This also gives you the authority to prioritize your projects and determine the steps needed in order to make them happen. Tip number 2, breathe. With so much to do on your to-do list, it can be easy to lose your mind and take on more than you can carry. Remember to breathe and give yourself some time to recuperate. Breathing not only sends oxygen to the brain, but also calms you down when in a panic. And lastly, tip number 3. Don't stress over things you can't control. The weather, last week's bad grade, or a fight between 2 friends. There are so many things we tend to stress over, and we cannot change or have no say or part in doing so. Remember to put yourself first and leave your worries in the back of your mind until they come into play. I'm Chelsea Gerard, and this has been your Health Minute.
St. Clair saw more than 10,000 international students enrolled in the 2017 fall semester. Most of these students traveled too far to be able to fly home for the holidays. St. Clair's Public Relations Club was inspired to spread some Christmas spirit for some of these individuals. Noah Jaslowski tells us more.
Last month, St. Clair College's Public Relations Club hosted a Christmas party for the international students who could not see their families during the holidays and to show them a Canadian-style Christmas. The party included a classic Christmas dinner supplied by Elbro Plumbing and RFG Plumbing with turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, cranberry sauce, and of course included a selection of desserts, as well as stockings for everyone in attendance, and pictures with Santa Claus. The Harvest Table restaurant kept their doors open after hours to host the party, and Windsor Transit donated a bus with a driver to transport the students to and from the restaurant. Glenn Baccaro, president of the Public Relations Club, says his inspiration to have a Christmas party comes from a friend who housed an international student.
I had some friends, some really good friends at the University of Windsor who hosted a student for Christmas one year, and I remember them telling me it was such a fabulous experience. They just felt so connected to the student, and the student really appreciated it and was full of gratitude for the gesture. And I approached the Harvest Table because they were looking to do something for the community, and I said, I think I got a great idea for you. Why don't we host some of the international students from the college? Because a lot of them don't have family, maybe they, English is not their first language, so they have difficulty finding friends or, making connections here. Why don't we connect them all together and like just host this big event where we can do Christmas dinner with them? And thankfully the Harvest Table jumped right on board, and they were like all for my crazy idea.
St. Clair's manager of international recruitment, Nathaniel Veltkamp, also made an appearance to see what the students thought of classic Christmas dinner.
When we're out recruiting students from around the world to come to St. Clair College, we always talk about St. Clair College being a family, and it's events like this that just drive home the fact that students, whether they're from Nigeria or India or LaSalle or Tecumseh, they're part of the family.
Baccaro added that he hopes this will turn into an annual event for the international students and that the future public relation clubs will use this event as a stepping stone to make the international students' Christmas party better each year. I'm Noah Jaslowski for MediaPlex News Now.
Windsor recently got a new Junior A hockey team. Cody joins us live in the studio with the founders of the newly formed Windsor Aces. Cody?
Hi there, I'm here with Bill Chapman and Joe Burney. Now, just to start simply, I got a few questions, but simple one to start. What inspired you guys to make this team?
The GMHL approached us about putting a team in Windsor, and things got rolling, and away it went.
All right, awesome. Now, how about mission statement? What's the main purpose behind this team?
Basically, it's to develop the kids that are playing for us, and then to keep entertainment value for the fans that like hockey in the West End. There really isn't anything here.
Yeah, I could get that. But like going forward, what's in store for you guys? What's next? And have there been any surprises for you guys?
Awfully surprised with the amount of talent we're seeing out of some of these kids in the development end of things, and the attention we're getting from pro hockey is really, it's been a surprise to me.
What arena will you guys be playing out of? For anybody out there that hasn't had much attention to this team, where are you guys at? And just what's going on there?
We're playing at 80 Knox Arena, which we're using as our home base. We're doing a little bit revamping to it so the kids, get a little bit more comfortable. And our next home game to start off the year will be hopefully our 5th game in a row that we win. It'll be against Tilsonburg, 7:30 on Saturday.
Awesome. And just to finish this up here, for a viewer at home, somebody who's looking to get entertained with this, what's the difference between you and the Spits?
We're right below the Spits as far as caliber-wise, right in there with your Junior B and Junior C hockey teams.
All right, awesome. Now, on behalf of us here, I want to thank you. We're going to send it back to you, Alyssa. Thank you.
You may recognize this Windsor man's face and iconic voice from watching CTV News. Reporter Caitlin Kenny sat down in the studio with this special guest to talk about his life and career. Check it out in this edition of 3 Minutes With.
Hello, I'm Caitlin Kenny, and I'm here with Jim Crichton, the anchor at CTV Windsor, and this is 3 Minutes With.
Caitlin, hello.
Yes, hello. Can you tell me what kind of things you like to do outside the newsroom and what hobbies you have?
I love the news business, and I spend most of my waking time either on the air, preparing for a broadcast, or listening to the radio, reading newspaper, occasionally looking at the web, trying to be up to date on what's coming down the highway. But when I'm in my spare time, I love to read, and I love old cars.
What kind of old cars do you like, Jim?
Well, I'm blessed. I have a couple of them. It's taken a while to collect them, but I have a 66 Chrysler 300 convertible, and that's a very big car. And I also have a car from the 70s. It's an American Motors Pacer from 1976. So one's a hardtop and one's a convertible. So I've got a sunny day car and a rainy day car.
I see. What got you into the interest of cars before?
I've loved cars since I was a little boy. I remember my parents telling me, even at the age of 3, I could identify most makes and models. Now, mind you, it was easier to tell cars apart. I grew up in the 50s where every year there was a model change and the cars looked different. Today's cars are all somewhat similar because of aerodynamics and fuel efficiency and whatnot. But it was a great time to grow up, and I think it was being shaped by the 50s made me the car person that I am.
Oh, I see. What other hobbies besides that have you picked up?
Well, I don't do a lot of, apart from that, I like to build models, but I haven't done that for years. I have a small train collection that I'm thinking about putting together, an HO train set that I'd love to get rolling, but that'll probably have to wait till I retire. I stay pretty busy with that. I'm married, I have a cat, and I find my days full. When I'm not working, quite frankly, I just like to relax. I like to watch movies, do a bit of casual reading, car books. I have a monthly publication that I like to look also at what cars are for sale. Not that I'm necessarily buying something, just to know what's out there and get a sense of prices and what's for sale.
Yeah. What kinds of steps did you take to fully develop your anchor voice and everything before?
Well, it's taken more than 40 years to do it, and I say this respectfully. People will sometimes say, have you always had that voice? And the answer is no. I started working in Welland, Ontario in 1974, and I didn't have much of a voice at all. And if you heard that first broadcast, I'd turn crimson if I played it for you. I was so bad. You would say, that guy has no business being behind the microphone, get rid of him. But I was persistent, I stayed with it. I mentioned to you before, Mr. Morrissey, my English teacher from high school, whose parting words to me in grade 13 were, Jim, use your voice. Use your voice. And that resonated with me. He could see something in me. He could see the potential. And that has led, in large part, I mean, I've worked hard at it, I like to think. I have God-given abilities, certainly. But I also made a point of showing up for work, and I think a lot of it's just showing up for work.
Yeah. What other people have influenced you in your life?
Well, there's people you know and people you don't know. Of course, your parents. I think my mom and dad were terrific, and I give them the most credit for setting me on the path, not to broadcasting, but to speaking and spelling properly. My parents are gone now, but they were both from the United Kingdom, and they put a high value on correct speech. And if I said something incorrectly, my father would correct me. I think that led to me having above average grasp of the English language, and that has helped me greatly in broadcasting.
This has been 3 Minutes with Jim Crichton. Jim, thank you so much for being with me today.
That's the fastest 3 minutes of my life, Caitlin. Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Let's have a look at this week's weather forecast. We've been experiencing a streak of below zero temperatures since before Christmas, and we won't see a chance of it breaking until after the weekend. Tomorrow we are going to see some scattered flurries with a high of -11 degrees Celsius. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will be mainly sunny with highs of -15 and 14. Sunday is expected to have a few more flurries, but jumping to a high of -3, and on Monday, possibly breaking even at 0 with some snow. However, temperatures will drop below freezing again next week. Media Convergence is a one-year graduate program offered here at the MediaPlex. If you are interested in further pursuing a career in journalism, public relations, media, or communications, check out this short video about the program. The holiday season saw many charitable community outreaches. One of them was organized by a local radio personality who was inspired by someone's reaction to a simple act of kindness. Reporter Todd Sheeran brings us the story.
Local and fun-loving radio personality Greg Gnip kicked off his Merry Mittens Extravaganza at Springwell Pub to benefit Windsor Street Help. Gnip spent Saturday collecting gloves, hats, mittens, underwear, socks, and toiletries for the homeless. The event was planned 6 weeks after an encounter where he gave the gloves on his hands to a guy on the streets.
He was cold. You could tell his hands were frostbitten, and they were all chapped, and everything looked. He just looked like he was in pain. So I said, "Here, can I get? Here are my gloves. Here's a coffee." I thought he was going to kiss me. He was so excited to get the gloves. The next day, I started it.
Gnip posted his idea on Facebook and drew the attention of Springwell Pub's night manager, Amanda Strong, who offered to host the event.
This cause is really important to my heart because when my husband passed away in 2013, charities jumped in to help my two sons and myself. There were 3 and 5 at the time. I want to give back. I want to pay it forward to other people in the community that are in need like I was at that time.
Not only were they collecting stuff, they were giving it away. Local businesses donated a collection of prizes and silent auction items, including numerous gift cards and an autographed photo of Toronto Raptors star forward DeMar DeRozan. Adriano Clark's company, Alma Valente Media, was excited to help and give back.
Pretty much anything that they can donate that would make a difference, that would keep people on the streets a little bit warmer this year, we thought would have definitely made a big difference. I think that the first thing that you can start with is giving warmth.
The extravaganza collected enough goods to fill a minivan and 2 cars, as well as $1,500 in cash donations. Gnip looks to repeat the event next holiday season, but also create a spring necessities collection when the winter breaks. For MediaPlex News, I'm Todd Sheeran.
The downtown mission is a big part of the community. Executive Director Ron Dunn sat down with Jessica Capassi in this edition of 3 Minutes With to talk about a recent event the mission held to promote an upcoming program.
Hi everyone and welcome to 3 Minutes With. Today's guest is Ron Dunn, the Executive Director of the Windsor Downtown Mission. This year, the Downtown Mission held a dental care clinic on October 11th for all shelter guests. So Ron, thank you for coming to the show.
Thanks for having me.
I was just wondering how that event came to be.
Well, it's everything we do is based on need, right? So what we've recognized is that dental health is, of course, directly linked to overall health. So we're in the process right now of building a full free dental clinic. It'll be located at our wellness center at 875 Olette. We're really looking forward to being able to offer full-time dentistry for those living in poverty and experiencing homelessness.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. What can you tell me about the mission's expansions of resources? It seems like every year something new and better is added to the mission for those struggling in Windsor.
Yeah, that's both a blessing and a curse, I guess, because you know, it involves a lot more resources in terms of staff, obviously dollars. We are funded by the community, so every expansion that we've been able to do is based on the generosity of those that that support the mission and those that we serve. So over the last 3 or 4 years, we've done a number of expansions, little things from becoming a 24-hour facility, which it seems little compared to the other stuff, but yeah, it was monumental at the time. We now serve 3 meals a day. We've merged with 3 other agencies now, so that's ballooned all of our resources, stretched all of our resources really thin, and ballooned all of our programming. But all of that is, again, the strength of the mission is we're able to be flexible enough to provide the support that the community really requires.
The Do Good Deli is also another program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the Do Good Deli and Charities are 2 social enterprises. We're trying to become a little bit more self-sufficient so that we don't have to keep going back to the community to say, you know, we need more shelter beds, so can we have more money? Right, so the Do Good Deli is, again, located on Olette. It's a for-profit restaurant where we're training people with barriers to employment, you know, on how to get back to work in a real-life scenario. In the basement of the same building, we run Charities, which is a promotional products company, T-shirts and things like that. Same concept. Every dime that we make there in both of those organizations go right back to support the Downtown Mission's main programs.
So can they use those as references for a job application?
Absolutely, and we've been very successful. We have a 70% success rate, so out of the 100 people that have gone through, 70 are now working, and those are folks who haven't had jobs sometimes in their whole life, so it's really exciting.
Well, thank you. It's been great having you. Thank you for coming on the show, for your time, and thank you for sitting down with me to educate us on the Downtown Mission.
Thanks for having me.
I'm Jessica Capassi, and this has been 3 Minutes with the Executive Director of the Mission, Ron Dunn.
It's time for our weekly dose of local, national, and international sports news. Cody Rosan is in the studio to deliver this week's segment of Sports Talk. Cody?
Hi there, and welcome to your Plex Sports Update. I'm Cody Rosan. Now, I'm without my usual co-host, obviously, Kyle Rose. He is away, still on vacation. Happy holidays to him. I hope he's enjoyed it. I did, and I'm kind of missing him. To start, we're going to bring an update from the Windsor Spitfires. This might come as old news, but Sean Day and Gabriel Velarde had been dealt to the Kingston Frontenacs. Now, in return, the Spitfires did receive their first overall pick in their draft this year, 16-year-old Cody Morgan. Now, Morgan arrived in Windsor today, and he will be present with the Spitfires on their upcoming Eastern Ontario road trip. This road trip, however, does include a game against his former team, the Frontenacs. Now on to the NHL. The Toronto Maple Leafs tonight, they got a matchup against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning are number 1 in the East and have been on a roll. The Tampa Bay Lightning leading a lot of the different categories in points, goals for, whatnot. They're scoring. They're hardly getting scored against. It's going to be a tough matchup tonight for the Leafs. The Leafs are coming off a bad 6-3 loss to the Las Vegas Golden Knights. But to the Leafs' credit, the Golden Knights, they're a very, very, very good team themselves. As the Golden Knights right now, they're a Stanley Cup favorite, and they've got a matchup tonight against a Nashville Predators, which that matchup could be a Western Conference Championship final. That puck drop is at 10 o'clock. The Leafs, they'll play the Bolts at 7. And just to finish up tonight, I want to talk about something that happened last night in the NBA, just to cover for Kyle Rose. DeMar DeRozan last night set a new franchise record for the Raptors. 52 points on the night. Congratulations to DeRozan, and congratulations to the Raptors on their success thus far. That's all the time I've got today. Back to you, Alyssa.
The last time we were in the studio, I caught up with Veronique Mandel about her newest book release, Getting Off. The book was published near the beginning of December and has since become a bestseller and top wishlist item on Amazon. In this interview, Veronique shares a little bit about what this exciting story is about and gives us the details on where you can pick up a copy locally. Thanks for joining us, Vero. I actually won a copy of your new book today, so could you just briefly tell me what it's about?
It's about a very well-known and respected criminal lawyer who practiced in Windsor for many, many years, and he fell from grace because of his many addictions, ended up in numerous rehabs. He absconded from the law and the tax man. He went to jail, and eventually he washed up in Africa and got redeemed and became a counselor in a rehab.
Well, that sounds like a really exciting read. Could you tell me the process of writing the book? I mean, what gave you the idea, the inspiration? When did you start chasing this story?
It was really once Don Tate had absconded, and our editor said anyone who found him, no matter where it was in the world, we could go. And so now there's a challenge, right? And I was determined I was going to find him. And so I set out on a long process of talking to everyone I thought who might have some connection or might know something about him. And eventually I found him in Costa Rica. And he was pretty far gone by this time because his alcoholism was pretty serious and he had really hit the skids. And so I just sort of casually said to him when I was leaving Costa Rica, if you survive all this and you would allow a biography to be written about you, give me a call. And so he came back to Windsor, he went to rehab, he went to jail, and then went to Africa. And 5 years later, I had a call one day, and this voice said, "Hey kid, it's Tate." And that started a 10-year process, because it took more than 10 years to write the book.
What was quickly the thing that surprised you most about where the story took you?
I think the fact that it took so long, because if I had written it, you know, as a journalist, you want to get things done lickety-split. And I thought, 2 years maybe. If I had written it in that time frame, I would have missed the most important parts of his life, really, in the parts of his life after his addictions were getting sorted out. And so I think that length of time really surprised me that it would, and I learned a lot about myself through the process as well.
For sure. So where can we find this book? Where can we buy it?
In Windsor at the From the Heart Boutique, Biblioasis, and Juniper Books right now, and on Amazon, and pretty soon, hopefully, at Indigo and Chapters.
The first edition of Veronique's book sold out, but it will be back in local bookstores starting tomorrow evening. Also keep an eye out for dates when she'll be signing books at various locations around the city. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Alyssa Horrobin, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.